Leo, can you hear me?
I can. How's it going?
Hey, going well. And it's Alex here. Nice to meet you.
Alex? Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much with the call, I mean, the ball is in your court. I understand that you spoke with Ashwin and or Max, and they kind of let you know that um, I can help you pretty much learn how Kartra works. I mean, in my day to day, I meet with a lot of new Kartra users, just kind of teaching them the application, asking about their businesses and how they could implement Kartra to basically run their online businesses.
Okay.
Um, I guess in your case, what is it that you really want to know? Like, is there any specifics, or do you just kind of want an overview of everything?
Probably a quick overview of everything. And
Gotcha.
what would you say the ideal client is for this platform?
Yeah, I would say so. I meet with a lot of people, and I'd say the majority are like small business owners. I think that once you have like a really large business, it gets a little harder to kind of manage everything without a team. Of course, we do have larger businesses that use Kartra, but kind of just to kind of give you an idea, I'd say like 70% of our customers are like small business owners, either running their own personal businesses or trying to running a collective business with a group. um, a lot of them are coaches, so a lot of people that are trying to sell their branding or their kind of ideas out there into the world, whether it be fitness or health or even spiritual things like that, right? A lot of people like small shop owners. I'd say majority small business, but Kartra can really be used for everything, right? It's kind of designed to be an all-in-one business platform, so it has a bunch of different features. It just really comes down to what people are using. I think it really shines with those small businesses. Once it gets too large, like I said, mentioned before, it just gets a little harder to manage all of your clients and pages and everything.
Okay.
It doesn't
Well,
really have like I'd say like Salesforce capabilities where you can kind of manage all everything in one inbox. So I'll kind of get into all that a little bit. Um,
okay. All
but yeah,
right.
any
And it
other
connects
big
with
questions?
QuickBooks.
Yeah.
It populates from
Um, I
QuickBooks.
I don't so with QuickBooks, that's like let's say is that for like payroll and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if it like
General
integrates
accounting.
directly with it. Yeah. I don't think it integrates directly with QuickBooks, actually. I mean, you can connect the two through something like Zapier if that's something that you really needed to do. But Kartra has all of its own internal analytic data. So everything that you are using, like whether it be there's broken down into different sections, right? And there's analytic details for pretty much everything, where you can get overviews. You can see transactions for things like products, for pages. You would see things like conversions and engagement, how many people are visiting your page, clicking on things, scrolling, that sort of thing. But when it comes to so Kartra, obviously you can create and sell your products through it, but it doesn't actually manage any of the money that you're making. So what that means is that you would need to essentially have a payment gateway in order if you're going to be selling anything through Kartra. So you would create your
Okay.
products through Kartra, sell them through Kartra, but when it's not going to handle any of the money, right? That money is going
Right.
to go to either Stripe or one of those other um, payment gateways there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd say there's probably two things that people really need with Kartra, right? One is a payment gateway if they're selling products. The other is going to be a custom domain. So you don't need a domain with Kartra. All of your pages or URLs are going to have a link, but the URL will always be by default like your username.kartra.com. So it's going to be like a Kartra username. And this is kind of what it looks like by default, like username.kartra.com/page/ whatever you make it. If you would need to own a domain through like a separate application, and then you can connect the two, and then you can choose that domain from the drop down to kind of brand any links. So that's what I typically tell people: a custom domain and a payment gateway if you plan on selling products. But the domain is not needed just if you want to. I know a lot of people that are like building their websites in Kartra. In that case, yeah, definitely get that domain connected.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. And typically,
Um,
so you mentioned most of the clients you serve are coaches and consultants.
Yep, a lot of coaches, consultants. There's also a lot of like I'd say like travel agents and things like that too. Just kind of say like smaller end. It really the business themselves vary widely, but I'd say the majority is probably coaches in some sort of field. Yeah,
Okay. What about painters or renovation companies? Do you have a lot of
I've seen a
those?
few. Yeah, they
Okay.
can definitely do that. I'd say with painters and renovation companies, so where Kartra really shines, right, is it has a bunch of different features in one application, right? So that would be like products, is anything that you're selling. You can even create affiliate programs as well if you upgrade to the growth package. Communications is going to be the place where like your email list will be and where you'll send emails out. Pages for creating web pages and websites, forms for collecting information, memberships for running any sort of online portals. So this is where people are creating courses, platforms, training programs with webinars for going live and hosting like live online events, media calendars. So media is like file storage. Kartra works like Dropbox or Google Drive, where you can store files and distribute them to people. Calendars, kind of like Calendly, where you can book sessions, surveys, so you can kind of quiz people and things like that. So like taking into account all of these features, that's why I feel like we get a lot of coaches because we have the memberships feature, which they build their course content out, and calendars, which they can set up their booking and all of that with. So I'd say that's why we get a lot of coaches and things like that. When it comes just down to other businesses, they're mainly, I feel, just using the products, the pages to set up their websites, communications, obviously for any marketing and things like that. They're mainly setting up like sales funnel stuff, I feel like in Kartra, whereas they're not really running their using the other features to run their business, like webinars or calendars and things like that. Albeit, a lot of people do use the calendars for just general booking. Um,
Okay.
but yeah,
So talk to me about webinars. How does that feature work?
yeah, so webinars and calendars, they're kind of similar. So calendars, we actually use calendars for like all of our one-on-one calls and things. This is just my demo account, so don't have too much set up, but there's four different types. And live event models, so calendars integrate directly with Zoom and Google Meet. So you can set up live events with your calendars, have people book through the calendar and host it through Zoom and Google Meet. The difference between calendars and webinars is held through the system itself. So you don't need any sort of application if you're going to be, live streaming. You're just live streaming directly through Kartra. People are registering and attending. Now, the main difference is with webinars, the attendees are only going to be in the chat feed, meaning they're not going to be on screen. They're not going to be able to kind of, speak or share their screen or be on camera. Only your presenters are going to be on camera. So typically, how a lot of people do it is if you're doing just like one-on-one consultations or classes or meetings where they're small and you want everyone to be on camera, then use the calendar system because you can just set up a calendar booking, use Zoom or Google Meet. Where webinars really shine is when you have a large audience for like product demonstrations, classes, things like that, where not everyone needs to be on screen because at that point it's just clutter and you only want to kind of present the information. I feel like that's where webinars really shine. So we have a lot of like people that are teaching classes use webinars. People that are just doing a lot of marketing funnels will use webinars to kind of do like a product release or something like that, because you can share your screen during webinars. You can add product offers directly in it. It kind of just is integrated directly into the system, but you're just limited to that one way deliverability. This attendees can still chat live, they can still interact through the chat feed, but they're not going to be on camera.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
um, and they're recorded too, so you can get the recording, you can distribute those recordings, you can set them up as routine schedules or single schedules. But yeah, it just really depends. I feel I get a lot of questions on whether people should use webinars or calendars. It just comes down to how do you need to see your audience or not, is usually what I tell people. Webinars
Okay.
also kind of have a more professional feel to them too.
Okay.
um
So there's nobody on the screen, only other co-hosts.
Yep, only the presenters. When you're setting up your webinars, you're able to set up, who's going to be speaking or whatever, right? So it could be, yourself, it could be anyone in your account, or it could be just any other speakers that you have, scheduled to be on your webinar. So you have this presenters tab, and then you're just adding all those people, their name and their email address, and then an email is sent out to them with their information. And then all of those people will be able to join the webinar kind of like through a Zoom link, whereas all the attendees join the webinar through like their attendee link, which will bring them to like the attendee side of it.
Okay.
Yep. And like I said, when you're doing the webinars, let me just go through and I can kind of show you the live features, like what you can actually do during them. Obviously, you can set up reminders for pretty much everything, for webinars, calendars, products. There's always like reminders so that you can email directly, send people reminders an hour before the session, a day before the session, days after the session. You can segment who the reminders are going to as well within here. I think when you're setting it up, where's the what's it called, new reminder, Zoom after the session? Oh, I guess you can't designate. I think you would have to set that up within the actual sequences, which we'll get into a little bit later. But all of these reminders are like unique to the actual webinar itself. And then these are the live features. So you can have polls and quizzes, product offers. So if you're doing like a call to action, you can share videos directly through it, share files, add slide presentations, and there's a whiteboard feature as well once you're in the webinar room, which you can put on the screen and kind of like write over things if you need to.
Well,
Then I'd say like one of the main features, or one of the things that a lot of people use Kartra for and that it really shines with, I think, is sequences. So obviously Kartra is really good at, people like Kartra because it's like not only can it host your websites, but can also manage all of your leads, right? People do like lead magnets marketing where they're trying to just obtain people and market to them by maybe offering something free in a conjunction to their business. So I see a lot of people taking advantage of the sequences. What sequences are, they're like pre-made email funnels where you are setting up all the emails that would go out and the time frame that they're going to go out, and then you're just designating a starting rule as to how people are going to receive those emails. So in this example, it's just a basic marketing sequence where anyone filling out like an offer form that we have on our website is going to be added to this sequence, and you can have any sort of starting rule. And then, you can see here they're receiving an email immediately after. One day after they receive that email, they're getting another one. And then 6 days after that, so essentially 1 week from when they were added to the sequence, we're going to check to see if they purchased the product. If they did purchase, they're done. If not, we're going to keep marketing to them until maybe they do. So just something that you can do with sequences. People make crazy ones that are super advanced, loop in on each other, or really simple ones that are just sending one email based on an action. But this is how you can basically automate any sort of emails within the system. Otherwise, you can manually send emails. Again, under communications, that's where all of this is done using broadcasts. Broadcasts are like one-time emails that you would send out either right away or on a specific date and time.
okay, so when you send out a broadcast, are you using an email service or is going through the app itself?
It is going through the app itself. Kartra has a great email reputation. One thing to note, though, is that your email domain reputation does kind of affect that as well. So like kind of one of the first steps to setting up your account is Kartra Mail DKIM. And this is where you're just, authenticating your email address. So, typically that's why I tell people that it's always good to own a domain before starting a Kartra account. It's like one of those other things in conjunction with Kartra, but just verifying that domain so that all of those emails are not going to spam. And then
And
when you're sending,
what's the open rate compared to other services?
all right, Kartra has a pretty good spam rate. I'm not sure what the open rate would be. I would have to get those exact numbers and I can email them to you after this call. Let me just leave my a note for myself. But Kartra has one of the highest spam rates, I think, in the industry. I think like a 0. Or I think up to a 4% spam rate, something like that. So it's very low, and like they take it super seriously. So if there's like anyone that's using the Kartra Messenger that's flagged by spam, their accounts are pretty much like very looked at heavily. We have a team dedicated to kind of our email team dedicated to reviewing all those emails and making sure that our reputation isn't dropping. So if somebody is, getting a lot of spam complaints, they're pretty much going to get shut down. And then, they kind of have to talk with our email team to work it out. Like, hey, so and so reported this spam. You can't be emailing these people. We can let you start emailing again. You just gotta, really start looking down, like buckling down on your email deliverability and things like that. So, if you're, it sounds like most people are good with it and they don't get any of those complaints. But if the second you start getting a lot of spam complaints, because there's always like an unsubscribe and things like that within Kartra, that's when you're going to start seeing deliverability and eventually, you can not be able to start sending emails if it really gets too bad.
Well,
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, I'll get those deliverability rates because I think they're probably one of the best. And I know that they always pride themselves in it. I just want to make sure I'm getting the numbers right when I send it to you.
okay.
Then let me see. Demonstrate. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you with emails too. A lot of people miss this. Excuse me. Let me just have a drink. My throat's getting a little dry. Is that besides just sending like plain text emails, so this is kind of like what you see when you're sending emails. um, by default it'll always see this like text, right? And it's pretty standard email stuff. You can just type your chat, you can use short codes if you need to personalize messages, things like that. A lot of people miss this rich HTML toggle at the top. Pretty much gives you an email builder, so people doing things like newsletters or promotional emails, things like that. You can add your branding, your logos, your colors. You're pretty much just dragging and dropping different sections into it. And then editing those sections there. And then once you have a design that you like, you can save it as a template and use for future emails, or you can use the templates that are available here as well. And that's the other thing that I think Kartra is really good with is templates. I think a lot of people that I meet with are kind of apprehensive if they're not very technology friendly about building out their business like this. But when it comes down to the main things like pages, emails, there's tons of templates. Even with the page builder, there's about 500 page templates, just full page templates. And then when you go into the builder itself, there's individual section templates, and there's probably thousands of those as well. So I always tell beginners, look through the templates. You don't have to design everything out yourself. You can work from a good foundation and then just customize it to your branding.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah.
So is
There's also AI
communication,
too, which was recently added. But yeah, what were you going to ask?
okay, so AI, how does AI fit in?
Yeah.
Is it responding to my emails?
It is not responding to your emails, it's generating copy for you. So the first
Okay,
step is to go to your settings in your profile, and you'll see this AI business settings. This is where you're just providing information just about your business. I think I did like an example one for like a community, a comedy improv business, right? Where you're just providing information about the products, what's your audience and customers, and how would you describe your business. And this is just kind of like general prompt stuff to provide with the system. And then when you're in either the email builder or the page builder, so we can go to just one of our emails, and I'll just edit this one to show you. um, you'll always see like a generate with AI button. So in the email builder, it's at the top. You can just click that and you'll see the toggle come up. You can kind of move it around. You'll see like include my AI business settings, which is what I just showed you, or you can not include them. But where that really helps is, when you're entering your prompts, you don't have to reiterate all that information. You can just say, write a marketing email for my business that, sells one of my main products coming up, and use you're selecting your tone, the language, and then it'll generate email copy for you in these text fields. And I think by default it'll always be like Latin. It'll replace it with all that copy. And then obviously, like any AI tool, you have the option to revise it or keep it. And same thing with the pages. So it's not going to respond to your emails, but if you instead of kind of hiring someone to generate copy for you, or if you just kind of need a good blueprint to get started, if you're making like a sales page or something, you can just say, hey, Kartra AI, write me a sales page, and it'll generate that for you.
Okay.
Yep. And it's only in the, again, emails and pages so far. I think it'll be implemented into other stuff in the future, but it's probably our latest release that just came out this year.
Will it create videos if I give it a script?
No, not yet. Yeah. So
Okay.
only, yeah, email copy and page copy. Right now, it's just a chat, pretty much like a text generation tool, kind of like Chat GPT, yeah, or
Okay.
Jasper AI. Yeah. Um, and then I say anything else that you really want to like specifics on. I know I kind of did a brief overview on certain topics. I think like the main one is memberships. For a lot of our customers are using memberships, like I mentioned, if they're coaches or if they just want to like, memberships are just a way to create content portals, if that makes sense. So like you can, only people with access with a username or password are able to go in, log into that portal and access any of the content. And kind of how it's structured, they always have a set structure, of like, let's say, like in the page builder, you can really kind of create your own design as you want. With the memberships, you can't really deviate from the, I guess, template that it provides you with. You'll see like you'll launch the builder, and this is kind of what it looks like. Just a blank canvas one, but you have the home screen, which is the first page that people are going to, and then you have like all of your different categories from there and subcategories. So people can really set this up any way they want. I've seen people do like, obviously if it's teaching courses, they have their class names. If they're like, some restaurants and things will do like, cooking and recipes and things like that, right? It really just kind of how people want to distribute their content. I also meet with a lot of people that do podcasts, and they put all of their like podcasts as, videos or content within here as well. So just kind of a portal that people can navigate through. We have like all of our training documentation for Kartra. So like here's our Kartra training portal. This is actually set up with a Kartra membership. So it doesn't necessarily have to be for courses, right? It can just be for like information or content, just a way to organize content and distribute it out to, people. And they can be sold, they can be password protected or open to the public, like this one is. Um, I would say, hmm, what are some other big things that I would try to want to hit on? Oh, email notifications. So, and team members too. So, depending on your team, right? Um, I guess we'll just start with the email notifications. Kartra, obviously, you can create those custom emails like I showed you with the broadcast and the sequences, but Kartra also sends out automated emails for pretty much everything that goes on. And these can be turned off or turned on depending on the ones that you want to receive or not want to receive. And these are things like, you'll always see emails that are sent to your leads. So all your customers, clients, to your affiliates, if you're running any affiliate programs, and to your team. So anyone that's working, in your account, like the account owners. To your leads, you'll see things like there's some important ones like order confirmation to buyer. This is the email that like provides people with their invoice information. And all of these emails can be edited as well if you want to customize them. But it's a good idea just to kind of look through these and see which ones are toggled on, or customize them if you want to kind of add your own business information there. There's also ones to your team. So if like some people want to get notified every time they get a sale or every time someone completes a form, you can get those notifications. Otherwise, if you have a lot of them coming in, you can just turn them off, if you don't need them to come through. And then the other thing is team members. So obviously there are people that have multiple team members, working for them. You may be the account owner, but maybe you have a whole team under you that's doing like the pages, the emails. Maybe if for like larger companies, there's a help desk in here. So like a lot of people will, run ticketing services, and they have their whole support team as team members answering tickets in the help desk portion of the account. So there's a lot of room for growth with those team members, you're pretty much entering their name and it provides them with their own account access. And you have this cool member roles thing. So you can create like an accountant role, a content creator role, owner. Obviously, it will only go to the account owner. And then you can do admin, which pretty much gives access to anything, right? Now, and you're choosing, when you're having those roles, what they get access to. So like maybe your customer support team doesn't get access to anything except the help desk feature, right? So you can toggle on and off what they have access to. It just helps too, because all of these team members, they're not going to get access to the billing portion. Like you can see here, I have no billing drop down. Only the account owner has the billing drop down, so they can edit the actual account itself. Same thing with the profile. Like team members can't edit any profile information. That's only for the account owner. So it's a good idea, especially if you just have like, even for smaller teams where people just have like one virtual assistant, just creating that team member account that way, that virtual assistant for whatever reason doesn't have access to, cancel the account or make changes to it. God forbid anything happens, right? That information will just stick with the account owner.
Okay. Scheduling, let's say I'm a painter,
Hmm.
so I can use the calendar to schedule, or you create a client, then you drag the client through the different systems. How does that work?
Yeah.
How do I follow a client's progress?
There's kind of two ways that you can do it. I think for a painter, it really just envision it from the customer's point of view. I asked a lot of people
Or
like,
a
how
roofing
do they
company?
kind of, yeah. So how do you envision the customer doing it? Are they meeting with you for a consultation first, or are they just booking the services right away? Is there kind of a like, how does the process go from them?
Okay, what I would like to see is they see a video or something, they click on
Hmm.
request a quote, the link comes in somewhere, hopefully to Katra.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Then they get scheduled, they pick a time on the schedule, um,
Yeah. All right. So it
10
sounds like.
days out. And while we're waiting the 10 days, I want emails going out to educate them on the existing product or services that they may want, or other services they didn't request.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can do all of that with Kartra. I think if you want, you can start with the funnel section. I think that's always kind of a good place to get an overview of what you're trying to create, just because you can kind of see the journey from beginning to end. In this example, it's just a simple like lead magnet funnel where we have a landing page that goes to an offer sign up, that goes to a download page, to an email sequence. I think in your case, since you want to start with a video, maybe you just have a landing page or something that you're driving ads to, and that landing page has a video on it and like an offer button in it below. So within a video, you can put a call to action in. So you would create your video, create your product, create a page. It's kind of like combining all those things together. And within those videos, you're able to put call to action. So anyone watching the video is able to get that pop up directly within it, where they can, be redirected to whatever page that you want them to, right? And you can set it up to as a social, or as just like a an opt-in, or just a redirect with like an image banner. Um, Now, basically, that's how they're getting. And on that page, maybe you just have something they can click as well under the video, so that people not watching can also get there. And maybe that redirects to something like your sales page, which has like all of your different products and the prices for the actual service that you're offering, and the different quote prices, right? And they can kind of choose the one that works for them and go on to the next step, which is like scheduling. Um, it's going to be a lot of moving parts, right? Is That's the thing with cartridges. I like to describe it as puzzle pieces. It's like all the pages are going to be in the pages section of your account. All of your products are going to be in the product section of your account. But if you want to make something like a sales page, you would create your products and then set up a page for it. And then when you're in the pages, you're just dragging and dropping those products into the page, or adding a button to that page and changing that button link to your product checkout. It's kind of everything interacts with one another, and Kartra even takes things from third party. So, like if you want to embed things to pages that you've created outside of Kartra, you can just embed the code if that code is available for you.
Right, like the
But
payment code
yeah,
from Stripe or something. Is that
Right,
what you mean?
exactly. I think
Okay.
in your case, Stripe integrates directly with Kartra, so you don't need to worry about all of those integration codes and things like that. You would just set up your products and make sure you're linking your Stripe account, and that'll all automatically work
Okay.
for you.
But I
Yeah,
have
it's
different
mainly for
payment
things like
links, so I would attach the right payment link to whatever page I'm creating. Is that what you mean?
right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so like here, like for example, like say you create like three products or four products. You mentioned you have a few products, right? So you create all of those individual products, then you go to a page, and we can just select something like a sales page that we have here, and we'll just choose one. Just select this new one, um example, and I'll just name it this. We don't care about the category since it's a demo, and we'll go in, right? uh,
Sorry, did you freeze?
um,
I think you froze.
oh, hey Leo, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think it maybe did freeze. I think my internet just skipped, but should be back here. Um, let's see.
Is there a review? Because obviously I want to follow the client's journey through the process, and I would like to ask for reviews at least, on 3 different occasions. How would I do that? Do I just do it as part of the funnel, or how do I do that?
Yeah, it would just be part of the funnel. Like, what do you mean for like reviews? Are you just kind of sending them like a form that they're filling out? You're like asking questions and then they're just like submitting their feedback?
Yes.
Or is it more like, yeah, in that case, you would set up something like a form or a survey if you have the growth package, and then you can go in there and just add them to your emails or, um, you know, anything. You'll always see, like when you're setting up emails, creating a membership product, or even in your pages, you have all of these components that you can just drag and drop in there. So like if you need to put a form, for example, that you created onto a page, you can just go to the form thing, you'll drag and drop it like the placeholder, and then you're replacing that placeholder with the form that you've built in your account, right?
Okay.
You'll see the link, and then you just hit apply, and that's kind of how it works with products too. With products, let me just delete that. So like here's like a sales page template that we have. Let's see where they have the actual product going in. Mm, doesn't look like here. Book now, so it looks like more of a calendar booking. But you can just create a sales page. It looks like they're using a button, and then with those buttons, you can pretty much link a button to everything. So you go to the link section, and you can see here, link to a product checkout, and then you can choose your product. So if you have multiple products, you would just have different columns, all those products in one column, have those buttons, and those different buttons linked to the product checkouts, right? So when someone clicks that button, they're going to the checkout. They can also link to things like forms, to other pages, to calendars for booking. It can all be done. You can also put those things directly into your pages, like I mentioned. So if you have like a calendar, you can just drag and drop that entire calendar onto your page if you're making like a booking page. Like here's our onboarding call booking page, and it kind of looks like just a normal page connected to our website. It has everything still in Kartra. You scroll down, and here's the Kartra calendar, so people can see the available times, choose from them, and then sign up from there.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So kind of like I say, you're building all of these things in Kartra, right? But pages are really the way, or emails, that you're getting them out to your clients or your customers, your leads. They're going to be that public facing. You're going to get that link. That's the link you're going to send them to whenever you get your page link. That's going to be kind of, you're building your forms, put that form onto a page, or send that form out through an email. Creating your products, create a sales page for that product or a landing page, right? Pages are always going to be the way to get that thing that you made public.
Okay. And you
Um,
embed videos within the page
yep, you can
as
embed
you need.
videos within the page, within the emails themselves, within memberships. They can be embedded in all those places.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. And you can upload them directly to the media section first, or you can upload them when you're like making your page. I'd say always upload it to the media section first because you get a few options when you're doing it. You'll see here, like when I go and edit this video, I kind of showed you briefly earlier with the call to actions, but there's a little bit more. Like you can add time segments. So, like if you need to add timestamps, maybe at 1 minute, that's your introduction. And then at, introduction, and then 10 minutes in you have the different topic name, right? You can kind of add timestamps so people can click around in your videos. There's also settings so you can create the thumbnail image. Right now this is just the blank one. You can add a logo. You can show the video controls or keep them, right? A whole bunch of different options, call to actions, and even tagging. And then when you have the actual video itself, if it's on a page, people can, obviously they can't download it, but like I mentioned earlier, Kartra works as a file distributing system as well. So you can provide people with like the video on a Kartra hosted page, and it's pretty much like a YouTube page, if that makes sense. Like people are able to allow to comment on the video if you want. They can download it if you allow them to, or you can just keep those things off and just send videos out to people that way as well. So there's a few ways you can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
On onboarding, is there a series of training videos, best practices videos? What's the onboarding process like?
Yeah, so every new customer, when you're going into your account for the first time, you're going to see a bunch of tutorials. For everything that you do for the first time, a tutorial should come up. For like products, you're going to have to click through it. You won't see it on my account, but say, for the first time you want to create a page, you click the plus page button, you choose your template, and then you're going to go into the page builder and you're going to see a whole bunch of, you know, a, a tutorial that'll walk you through all the features kind of step by step. There's also a support button at the top. It looks like this ring. If you click that, it'll take you to our Kartranaut training portal or a support page, which has a link to our Kartranaut portal, which I showed you earlier. And that's kind of like our official training site. So if you kind of want to learn how things work, it's broken down into categories. So say you are creating a web page or you're creating a form and you want to learn how to make a form. You can just go to forms. All right, I want to learn about form fields. You can click on it, and then you have like video demonstrations, text, screenshots showing you different things, right? So this is really where you're getting like the step by step what each individual setting does, how it works, and it's a lot. There's a lot of information in here, so feel free to use the search bar to search for specific things while you're looking through it. Other than that, so this is like our official thing, and besides the ones that are within the account, other than that, we have our support that's 24/7. People can reach out at any time. You just email support@kartra.com. And our onboarding calls. So we offer all of our new customers get into an onboarding sequence. So we're reaching out to them every, I think it's 2 or 3 days, where we're just saying like, hey, how are you doing? Do you need help with anything? Is there anything we
Yeah,
could do to get you started? I think
that
we also offer the calls during that period. So we're also checking in on customers to see if there's anything, being proactive, right? Um,
yeah,
what
that's
during their
important
beginning.
so you don't lose them. Because the first
Exactly.
time I
Yep.
looked at the website or your onboarding, I was kind of frustrated. So I didn't
Yeah.
want to start losing people.
Yeah, I think within last year, the big focus last year was our customer, just retention. And part of those was we created a whole onboarding team. We're revamping our education. So right now it's been on our Kartranaut portal, and that's been updated so much. But we're about to move all of our education to another like bigger system that's going to be a lot more easier to kind of navigate through. So I'm really excited for that to happen. I don't think it's happening till probably late summer or later this year. And but yeah, last year we were really focused on just how do we make sure that, because we noticed a lot of our customers, like you said, are kind of, especially if they're not tech friendly and this is kind of their first introduction to everything, they're falling off within like the first 1 or 2 months once they realize or feel like they can't hit a wall. So
Yeah,
we really revamped kind of that initial, how do we ease people into kind of starting their Kartra journey. And I
yeah,
think part of that is just, yeah, the onboarding process, the education, making changes to the application, and then uh, just I think taking things slow, giving people step by step. Because I think a lot of people, especially that I notice, are there's a lot more people nowadays that want to get in. They have like a dream and maybe they want to add something to their 9 to 5 in addition. Like I've noticed more and more within maybe the last few months, especially this year, where it's like people already have a day job. They just want to get, start their side job and kind of hopefully one day that takes over, right? So I see a lot of people launching, and those people, I feel like if they don't feel confident going into it, yeah, they start to drop off just because it can feel a little overwhelming. Um,
Yeah. One of the areas that I stopped was when I was setting up your reseller account, or whatever you call it.
mhm.
The name I stopped because I represent 16 pieces of software, but I want to push your software more so. But I don't want to
Gotcha.
sound like I'm pushing your software and I'm getting a commission for it, right?
Got you. Yeah.
So so I need to choose a name where I'm endorsing the software as a third party and not necessarily get a commission. So do you
Got
have
you.
anyone in that position, and what kind of name did they use?
Yeah, I would say that's a great question for Max. I'm gonna put that on my notes as well.
Oh,
Open rate and Nice. So in that email chain that we're in, I'm just gonna tag in Max and just ask him there as well, because
okay.
he part of yeah, he deals with all of our partners, so he definitely knows what the ins and outs and what people use in that case. Unfortunately, I don't know too well. I know a lot of people that they'll just market it as their own, and they'll say like they're just using kind of Kartra as the backbone or the system that runs everything. And what's cool is a lot of people will create their own campaigns. So, like in this campaign section of your account, if you are getting your own clients, maybe you set up a uh, these are pretty much pre-built funnels, right? You can create like website templates, you can create funnel templates where they're essentially just a collection of assets. So maybe for this contractor checklist, if we look at the assets, there's like 3 pages, 2 tags, 2 lists, one sequence, right? And they might all work together to create something that works in Kartra. So what a lot of people will do is create a campaign, market branded as their business, and saying, these are all the things that you're going to get. I can help you launch your business. These are You just have to kind of download this template, add it to your account, and change everything, and then you're good to launch. So people will kind of use that as their branding. So if you go to the marketplace, these are ones that people sell publicly, and you can see like there's no Kartra branding really in it. So like when they're broadcasting it to the public, these are all the templates you're getting. Kartra is just the system that we're running it through. Um,
Okay. So it
kind of
could be used as
campaign.
a white label product then.
I would say yes and no though, because when you're sending emails out and things like that, it's always going to say powered by Kartra or run through Kartra. So I wouldn't say it's 100% white label, especially like for things like memberships and stuff. It'll always say like powered by Kartra at the bottom. It's small, but you can always add your business logos and things. The powered by Kartra things will only be like at the very bottom of the footers of emails, or at the very, I think, login pages for like, I think it'll be on the checkout pages just for that authenticity and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a
Um,
much better idea. And
yeah.
do you generally, what's the process for onboarding? Do they get someone like you to onboard them,
Yep.
or do you expect them to watch the videos and onboard themselves?
So we offer onboarding to all of our new customers. It's one of the first things. So when somebody signs up for a Kartra account, as part of like entering their account name and entering their like, you know, information, one of the steps is, do you want an onboarding call? And they can book it right there when they're setting up their account. Other than that, we send out the notifications through just our onboarding sequence emails. So like when I was telling you earlier, all of our new customers are getting a series of emails, and through there we're offering those calls as well. Those are really the only two places that we're like advertising it. If somebody comes into our support team and is new and they're like, I have no idea what's going on, or I just want to meet with someone and just talk and work it out, we also take calls that way as well. So we're really just showing it at the first for all new people that are signing up, and then in those email sequences. And yeah, we'll meet with them. We'll kind of walk them through. I typically ask at the beginning of my calls, like, what's your business and what do you plan on using Kartra for? And I always get like two sides. There are the people that um, are either migrating over and know exactly what they want and what to do, and their questions are very specific. And I just have to tell them, all right, go here to do this, go here to do this, and they're good. Whereas the other people that are kind of doing things for the first time, they're like, I kind of have to walk them through the steps. I'm like, okay, so these are the features you're going to need. You'll probably need, calendars, pages, products. This is where you should start, kind of take things one step at a time so that they don't get overwhelmed, kind of give them a guideline. And then just, telling them they can reach out and checking in with them, just to make sure that happens. Other than that, that's kind of like, again, we're in the first stages. We just started our onboarding team, so it's pretty small, but we have seen that, like, you know the people that meet with our onboarding team, the stick and retention rate is so much higher than people that don't. So it's definitely effective. We just need, ways to make sure that we are getting the more people, right? Because the onboarding calls are really effective, but if nobody comes out or reaches out or signs up for one, they're not getting one from us. And we also had a problem at the beginning where we were giving them to all new customers, but then people weren't showing up for them. So it was like kind of a waste of time on both
Mhm.
parts, right? So we're still kind of tweaking the process a little bit. It's not in its final version, but I think the way it's going, it's getting a lot better.
Okay. One more quick question. One,
Yeah.
what I find is most, like I said, I sell 16 pieces of software, and I find that
Yeah.
when someone is not holding their hand, people will choose the wrong software 4 times before they start asking the right questions to get the right software. And a good
Right.
example of that is I have a video on TikTok with 3,000 very angry people because
Mm.
um they have an unrealistic expectation of what a business is because they're not asking the right questions,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So when someone comes on board and just says, I want to grow my consulting business, but I have no idea how to do that.
Hmm.
How do you help someone like that?
So we can just, like, as for Kartra employees ourselves, we really can't help with like we can't say, you need to do this, you need to do this to like make your business, right? We can only kind of give suggestions. There was, well, like I went to school for marketing, so I'll tell things like, starting campaigns, doing like lead generation, right? As a kind of a starting point to grow an email list if they don't have any sort of leads and things like that. But yeah, that's the number one thing I'd say is the people that kind of, I guess in that case, like they kind of need someone to hold their hand and help them along step by step. We can't really do that to like the effectiveness that some people need. What some partners will do, like Kartra partners, what I described before, is that they create their campaigns and they're like create informational videos that like explain the campaigns and walk people through step by step, everything they need to do to launch their business. The only thing, the only caveat to campaigns is that, obviously people's businesses will vary, right? So there's going to be some tweaks that everyone will probably need to do. That'll, probably be a little harder on that end, but a campaign is a good way to kind of get people started. Um, the other thing too is we have a list of certified partners, and if anyone can access this in their account, and these are obviously, people that are partnered with Kartra that sell their services. So people can go here and say like, all right, I want to find someone that will uh, do marketing for me, or I want to find someone that'll create my website. You can kind of search through this list for, services that people offer, see their profile and see like, okay, this person does these things. Obviously, they all have different rates and they're not Kartra employees. They're just people that, we recommend,
Yeah.
but they can purchase those services through here. We also do have a Launchpad program that will walk people through, setting up their business. But that program is, I think, $500 starting out. So for the average user, it can be a little daunting, but kind of getting your business and your account all set up, it kind of weigh it. how people think that value is, right? So we do have an official Launchpad system. It's just I feel like most people are turned off by the price point. Whereas if they look for certified partners, you might be able to find better prices, just depending on those individual things that you need done.
Okay. And how does one become a certified partner?
Yeah, I think you can just teak to our partner team. I know there was like a process before where you could apply an app, but I think you just need to reach out to our partner team and just say like, "Hey, I'm interested in becoming a certified partner," and they'll kind of go through that interview process with you and add you to this list. I think the one thing though is that you do need to be like proficient with Kartra as one of the requirements, right? Because you're going to be in the Kartra account, kind of working through people's accounts. But yeah, if once you get to that point, you can definitely become a certified partner, and you'll be on this list. We'll offer your services, promote your services within the account here. We also do events with our certified partners too to kind of promote them as well. So if you, I don't know if you're part of the Kartra community, but you'll see like some of these faces and they're hosting live events on just different topics.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't take much more of your time. I appreciate the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, it was great meeting with you today. Like I said, I'll just follow up with you on those few things like the open rate, talking to Max just about the how to present yourself, like when you're kind of marketing Kartra. And then what was that last thing? I actually didn't make a note. Oh, did you want me to reach out about certified partners? Just ask him how the
Yeah, yeah.
process is, and
I
he can
would like to
provide you with
find
that.
out. Yep, yep.
Yeah,
Um,
awesome.
because reviews are crucial. And I want to figure out how to integrate that.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Alrighty. Well, you can expect my email probably within the next. I do have an onboarding call in a little bit,
whenever,
so I would
whenever.
say,
Next
yeah.
week is fine.
Now I'll get it out to you for today. Don't worry.
Okay.
I want to get everything done before the big weekend. But yeah, it was great talking to you, Leo. Hope you have a great one and a great weekend coming up.
Thanks, Alice. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Yep, my pleasure. Bye.
Bye.